The target group for my magazine is people who are interested in the rock and punk scene. I have firstly incorporated this by using dark but bold colours such as dark red, dark green, and black to gain the attention of potential readers. This is a better colour scheme than colours such as light blue and pink, as they would appeal to an audience more interested in pop magazines. My contents page has typical articles you would expect to find in a magazine read by my target social group. These include news on rock bands and information about certain groups which are popular. One thing I have tried to incorporate, which I believe I have managed, is the right dress code for the models in my photographs. They are wearing the clothes that my audience would want to wear, and I feel this represents the group well, as dress codes in groups is a key factor in modern society and should be reflected in the media. My double-page spread keeps the colour scheme that I have carried out through my magazine, which I have stated before is representative of the audience. The article contains news which the social group will want to hear about, while in keeping with the language representative of those reading it. This is different from language you would expect to find in a rap or R&B magazine, which would incorporate slang instead. Overall, I believe my magazine has well represented the particular social groups it targets, and to back this up, I have asked fellow peers who would be classified in this group for their opinions on my work. Okay, so this question is, how does my media product represent particular social groups? So first I want you three to look at the front cover. Tell me sort of what about it. Do you like the costume, the font, the heading is the part I'm particularly happy with, so any thoughts?
Pretty decent, to be fair. I see you've gone for quite a dark kind of, dark rock kind of heavy metal kind of theme with the blacks and the reds.
Yeah, it remains fresh.
I don't think it's more of a, I wouldn't say it's, why you're saying underground, do you mean like, bringing you the biggest news from the best rock artists? Is that kind of like mainstream rock artists, or are you trying to get like a kind of underground vibe? Because they kind of contradict each other, and I was wondering.
The vibe I was sort of trying to go for with it was a sort of mixture of the two. So sort of bringing the more underground rock bringing the up and coming bands into more the mainstream lights. So my second question to you will be, how do you feel it compares to current magazines such as that issue of Kerrang you have?
Well, the main thing I've noticed is the fact that the tagline "Bring Me the Horizon," which is the main obviously theme of this magazine, is much more standout than yours. What I was going to ask you, is that kind of because you've gone for a darker kind of like the darker vibe with it, or do you feel that if it was on a shelf, you'd want something more standout in the middle?
Well, I see where you're coming from. Sort of the idea I had was to have a masthead that stood out and was sort of appealing to people such as yourselves who would want to buy this kind of magazine. And then once you pick it up, it's when you notice all of the stories on the front cover. So do you guys feel that my contents page is representative of any current magazines that you might read?
Enemy.
Yeah, it's not like, because we've got the Kerrang here, which is like it's a bit more cluttered. There's lots of like different tiny titles and stuff, whereas your one's like a bit more, main titles you got there, the things you want to look at in the magazine, so it's a bit more direct.
That was actually the other sort of contents page you could go for. So in my coursework I've done two contents pages, one which I eventually chose, which is the one in front of you, and another which was slightly more cluttered at the bottom but didn't look as good at the top, which I felt wasn't to the best of my ability basically, which is why I didn't put it. It's on my blog if you want to look at it. So do you feel that this is the kind of article you would expect to read in a magazine that you read?
I think this looks pretty professional. This is something that I see in the Kerrang a lot.
He reads a lot of Kerrang.
The Kerrang.
So the little info box I've got on the side for each of the band members, I took that from an issue of NME doing an article on Foo Fighters. I sort of tried to adapt it myself. It took me a while to get it looking right. I know there may be a few word errors in there, which I'll go back and have a look at. But what do you feel of the design overall?
Green. But I like green.
If you notice, throughout the magazine I've used the same colour scheme of sort of dark red, dark green, switching out black for white in the contents page to mix it up a little bit.
I like that, yeah.
Would you like theme it around the band which you were interviewing, or is it going to be the same colour scheme for each?
Well, I feel if I did other issues, which I wouldn't have to, but if more issues were to come out, it would sort of centre around the colour scheme for said band. So Obviously, the masthead would say the same on the front cover. So thanks for helping me out with my questionnaire for you guys. Any final thoughts, really, on my work?
It's good. I like the fact that it's kind of a basic kind of layout, but it gives you the kind of idea of what you want to see when you're